Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World this Friday evening. Brought to you by the people behind Ace Podcast Nation, of course, but most importantly, by the fans, for the fans. Cardiff City content 7 days a week. And if you are a Cardiff City fan and you would like to get involved, then hit us up cardiffcityworld at gmail.com or on all the socials and stuff like that. I think it's Cardiff City World on everything except Twitter is CCFC at CCFC World. But Ace Podcast Nation or Cardiff City World, whatever it may be, or me personally, just hit us up. Tell us what you fancy doing. We've got plans for further content. We want help with the content we already do. We've got such a variety of stuff. We've already got some vlogs. We're looking for more vloggers for next year. Match day, we're looking for someone to interview people at the games. We're looking for more historical content. We have obviously the history of Cardiff City each week with Terry Phillips. We have the Flower Hour show twice a week. We have the previews, the analysis, 5 things we've learned. Every day, Cardiff City content, the Cardiff City phone in on a Monday. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. But we are here to discuss Millwall versus Cardiff City tomorrow. The old enemies renew that rivalry. Millwall play the host, and they will know, or they do know, should I say, that probably one win is enough to keep them up for another year. So they have got something to play for. Cardiff City, interestingly, like mathematically can still make the playoffs, I guess, but realistically, not getting in playoffs, not getting relegation, sat in the mid-table, quite comfortable. The fans really shouting out, calling for, begging for some attacking football to entertain the fans to finish the season. The first half versus Birmingham in midweek for Cardiff's point of view, first half was very poor, very poor. Second half, much better. But what was more encouraging, in my opinion, was seeing Keane Ashford come on, Ruben Colwell changing the game, seeing Turnbull finally playing that midfield role alongside Siopis. Like, those are little things that the manager previously has kind of almost stubbornly refused to do. So to see that was encouraging for me. And straight away, Keane Ashford, very tidy. Ruben Colwell changed the game. But Turnbull in particular against Sabah, straight away from deep, linking up with Colwell and Ashford, little 1-2s and triangles, running onto the ball rather than receiving it with his back to goal. That's where we need him. And it was encouraging. Look, Millwall have a familiar face in charge. Was not my favourite Cardiff City manager, it must be said. We know what they're going to do. We know how they'll play under this manager. They've got a few players expected to continue to be injured in the likes of Murray Wallace, Joe Bryan, Duncan Watmore, Kevin Nesbitt, none of which are expected to make it back for this game. Another familiar face, obviously, Tom Bradshaw. Very good player on his day. Touch and go, I think, whether he starts. Millwall will be aggressive. They will be physical. They'll try and use the channels and play that more sort of old school football in many ways under Harris. They have got a few players which can do some damage, which Cardiff need to be aware of. But ultimately, Cardiff City, right, have got a habit of playing teams who are not in the best of form and making them look like prime time 70s Brazil, as I've said many times. However, I do feel that from a Cardiff point of view, they can just relax, just play football, and just be the better team. Is what I would like to see. Millwall with all to play for. They won't want to take it deep into the last game or two. They'll want to get their safety sorted, and 3 points tomorrow would be massive for Millwall in terms of just getting it done, as it were. But let's have a look at as is tradition. We look at the Cardiff City's opponents first and foremost, and then we'll move on to the Bluebirds. Look, Millwall, fresh off a massive win on Tuesday night at home to Leicester. We know that the Den, the new Den, whatever you want to call it, we know it's a difficult place to go. We know it'll be hostile. They do not like Cardiff. They do not like Cardiff City fans. It will be uncomfortable. But Cardiff City's away form has been really good this year overall. Like, the results have been good. Very unlucky in some results as well, where we could have come away with a win. Overall, there's been some poor performances. There's been some good performances. But the away form, we do seem to play better away from home. Millwall, on the other hand, I think, they're comfortable at home. And beating Leicester and keeping a clean sheet is massive for Millwall. Obviously, they needed the points, but as do Leicester. Leicester have got stuff to play for. They look like they don't know if I use the words bottling it, but they're certainly making automatic promotion more difficult than we thought it was going to be at the start of the season or as the season progressed. I would like to see Cardiff be really aggressive. And as I said, we will talk about it a little bit in a minute. In terms of the Millwall starting 11, I would expect the starting 11 to remain the same, barring any injuries, really. I would love, from a Welsh point of view, to see Tom Bradshaw start, but I don't think he will. Obafemi and Fleming have got a decent partnership, and it's tricky. I think they line up. They'll have Sarkic in goal, Leonard and McNamara, their fullbacks. Cooper and Tanganga will be the centre backs. It's a relatively solid back four, but they have conceded goals this year. They haven't had the best season, and when the pressure's on teams like this, where they do need a win, they have got to assure themselves of championship status next year. There's pressure on them. And if you can get an away goal and you can get at these teams, the pressure builds, the frustration in the fan base builds. We've seen it at home ourselves. Fans want Cardiff to go out and play attacking football and blah, blah, blah at home. And then when we let the home away team settle, they get an early goal or they get a goal in the first half hour. The fans turn, the fans get frustrated, and it becomes a thing. And we need to utilise that against other teams. Millwall, yes, they're going to be aggressive. They're going to be physical. They're going to be up for it. Cardiff have to be up for it. Cardiff have to pick the right team, play the right way. If you can get an early goal, the pressure will turn on them. In terms of Millwall's midfield, I expect Longman will line up on the right, Honeyman left. You'll have the Mitchell and Saville in the centre of midfield. And then you'll have Obafemi and Fleming. Fleming will drop into the hole now and again, try and get on the ball. For me, the danger area from a Cardiff point of view is that Saville-Honeyman combination on the left-hand side. Saville's a really good player. I rate him a lot. If you give him time, he can do some damage. And Honeyman on the left-hand side, McNamara overlapping. And they will try and put it into the channels for the striker, for the winger to run onto and then build from there. They will play percentages. They will do all the things that people tell you is, it's hoofball, it's this, it's that. But just being direct doesn't mean you're playing long ball football. And what they are is they'll be direct. The wingers will try and get at our fullbacks. The central midfielders will be aggressive in trying to win the ball back. I would expect them to press quite high because they're going to want to try and get at Cardiff and have a good start. In terms of maybe potentials, because I saw that Honeyman came off quite early, 50 minutes against Leicester. You could see SA off the right. You could also see Tom Bradshaw up front as well. Wouldn't be a shock to see either of those two. In terms of the man to watch, for me, I think both wingers are decent enough, but I think Saville in the middle of the park is the one which could cause Cardiff a bit of problem if he gets going and he starts to spray it about a bit, starts to win the ball high up. They have got runners. They have got people who are willing to get down the channels. They have got win. Fleming will drop into little pockets of space. Obafemi will run in behind. So when you have someone of Saville who can pass the ball, but then you also have movement off the ball, it can create problems for any team. From a Cardiff point of view, I've got to be honest, I don't think we'll see massive changes. Ramsey's out. Maybe Robinson and Romeo come back in on the bench, whatever. I I don't think we see Ramsey certainly tomorrow. So I would expect Ruben Colwell to start, as he should. He should start anyway. I thought he was outstanding the other day. And the most important thing from a Cardiff point of view with Colwell is we have to have runners off the ball. I just talked about it with the Millwall. They have runners and they'll be direct. It's Cardiff, even if we're going to play this possession type football, we're going to be compact and make it very difficult for Millwall to play through us. When we win the ball, when we get the ball on the halfway line and in that sort of counter press, that counter attack, I want to see the wingers. I want to see the striker. I want to see people, when we get the ball to Colwell, I want to see Turnbull, Runner, or whoever running from deeper midfield to link up. I want to see options for the player on the ball. And I want to see bravery from people, from individuals. I want to see Jamalu Collins playing like he did on Tuesday against Birmingham and wanting the football. So often for Collins, the criticism has been his on-the-ball stuff. And what pleased me the most about his performance on Tuesday was, outstanding defensively, positionally beautiful. He got forward and he wanted the football. He was like, give me the ball, and he used it well. And I want to see that bravery from all of the team. As is a bit of a tradition, I'll give the team which I would like to see start. I do not in any way think that this is what we will start, but this is what I would like to see. Back five is back five. You've got Havertz, you have NG, Collins, Phillips, Gutas. Siopis as the holder. I want to see Turnbull next to him. I want to see Colwell in the 10. Okay? And then, why don't we switch it up a bit? Because as hard as Mate works, I don't think it's working as him as a striker. He was in the first half on Tuesday, he's dropping deep, putting crosses in, but there's no one in the box because he's the man who's supposed to be in the box. So that only works, that Harry Kane type dropping deep and playing balls, if you've got people going into the box. Now, yes, if he does that with Colwell's more likely to burst into the box than Ramsey is because they're just different types of players. I would go with Josh Bowler on the left. And if he's not going to play on the left, I would play Mate off the left. Play Colwell in the 10. And I think I'd go with Kean Ashford from the start. But I wouldn't be disappointed if he went with Tanner on the right from the start and brings Kean Ashford on half-time. And then I play Karlan Grant up front. I think Karlan Grant up front can work through the middle if you have the right people behind him and around him. Colwell absolutely has to play in the 10 behind Grant. So you've still got that physical presence, but also you have someone who's got the ability to link up and play him in behind. Most importantly, you need a player who can progress the ball, but also follow that pass and link up. And that's where I think Turnbull can really change the way Cardiff City play. I think he can be the missing piece and changing us from like sideways, slow, great, but nothing progressive, nothing really with purpose. I think he can be that guy. If you put Turnbull alongside Siopis, like we saw at the end of the Birmingham game, just his movement, like he plays a pass and he follows it in and tries to get it back. Rawls is more of a dictator. He will sit deep and he'll try and play through the lines. Yes, that's why I would always pick him over Wintle, but he hasn't got the legs to get about. He hasn't got the legs to follow his pass and link up and do the rest. Turnbull's got a really good record for long distance goals, assists. Let's play him alongside Siopis. Just tell Siopis to be the destroyer, be the protection for the defence. Let Turnbull be that aggressive number 8 who, yes, does the defensive work, but progresses that ball, plays it out wide. Have 2 traditional wingers, whether that's Mate, whether that's Ashford, Tanner, whoever, Bowler. Like, I want to see attacking wingers, high and wide. Out of possession, slot back in, nice and compact. Let Colwell and Grant be the pressers, and everyone else just have 2 banks of 4. not a problem with that. But when we win the ball, I want to see Colwell dropping in to get the ball. I want to see the wingers moving in, going in behind the fullbacks. I want to see Turnbull looking to link up with these players, nice and wide, like Ashford was. And if this was a home game, I would 100% be saying start Keane Ashford on the right. I don't think he's ready to play. I think it's unfair to expect him to play through the middle straight away. Let him find his feet. If it was a home game, I would say let him play. Like you're good enough, you're old enough. But let's be fair to the boy. Give him time. And I think Tanner also has been patient. So I wouldn't be against letting Tanner have a start. I want to see wingers, direct, wide, pace, play with pace. And I think Turnbull in the midfield area will allow us to do that. However, do I think the manager will line up, as I just said, with Turnbull, with Colwell, with whoever? So that's who I would play. But let's go with what I think the manager will do. I think the back five, as I said, it picks itself. Okay. So I think he goes with Bowler, even though I wouldn't, on the right. And I think he goes with Grant on the left, even though I wouldn't. Colwell in the 10. I think he goes with Rawls, but I wish, even if he goes with Bowler and Grant, all right, I get it. What I would like to see is them interchanging and swapping wings throughout the game. Like, if you're not going to interchange at your fullback, swap sides. Be traditional wingers, then be inverted, then be traditional. Make the fullbacks think. Make it a difficult afternoon for the fullbacks. Interchange, even interchange with Colwell. Have Grant drop into the 10 or Bowler drop into the 10 and Colwell go wide and really be fluid, that 3 in front of the midfield behind the striker. But I think the manager will go Bowler, Colwell, Grant, and I think the manager goes with Mate up front. Personally, I wouldn't. Maybe it will work with Colwell in the 10, because if Mate then drops deep, Colwell will go further forward. Like in the second half, before Jesus came on, Colwell was the furthest forward player. And we had a lovely shape during that period, so I'm not completely against it. But I just want to see Cardiff City play with pace, play with aggression, play with urgency. My man to watch for Cardiff City, I mean, if you're talking players who are I'd expect definitely to start, I'd probably say Ruben Colwell, because he changed the game for Cardiff City on Tuesday. But I'm going to say Turnbull. If you play Turnbull as that midfielder against Siopis, I really believe that can change the whole game for Bulut, for Cardiff City, for this way of playing. I think he's the missing piece. He's what turns it from sideways, slow and boring, to fluid and linking up and interchanging, and someone with a bit of aggression, but someone who's also got the technical ability to spread the play, to find the ball. I mean, Siopis has got a really good switch ball in him, but Turnbull has got that real good technical ability. Just looking at some of the comments, Reese says, do you think if we had a striker who could finish, fans would say football has been boring or poor if we'd won these games instead of drawing or losing? Well, I think it certainly changes the outlook, because I think if you go back through the season, our strikers have missed some big chances in some big games. And I think it definitely changes the outlook, because let's be honest, if we had a striker who'd scored 15 goals this year, we're probably fighting for the playoffs now, because we're mathematically still in with a chance. But we haven't got that striker, so we have to go with what we've got. I'm interested in what you guys think. Do you guys want to see what did you make of Turnbull's performance? I know it was only 10 minutes, but did you see what I saw with him starting deep, knocking it to Colwell and Ashford, and then looking for the return pass and that link-up play that we desperately missed that from a midfielder? And what was also interesting, actually, in the first half was Rawls and Siopis. Rawls was the deepest midfielder. He was the one going to get the ball off the defence, and Siopis was a bit further forward. I understand that Siopis has got more energy, but I would really in my opinion, Siopis is one of the best out-and-out defensive midfielders in the league. but we've got to let him be that out-and-out defensive midfield, and then have someone next to him who can be the box-to-box number 8, and I think Turnbull's that guy. Reese says, I noticed that Collins, Esperand, and Grant, they all seem to have a great partnership on the left. They overlap defensive cover. Ng and Bowler on the right don't have that, and something isn't right on that side. Look, I've seen a few people saying lately, or the last couple of days, Bowler's, the grief he gets is a bit unfair. So I want to clarify what my problem is with Josh Bowler. My problem is with him as a footballer, not as anything like a person. I don't know him. But from a performance point of view, I see glimpses of what he's capable of, and I think, wow, there's a player there. But then too many times this season, I've seen him standing watching NG get doubled up on. The Swansea goal the first goal is the prime example. He stood on the edge of our box 20 yards out or whatever, and he's looking directly at it as NG's marking one player and another Swansea player just goes around the back. That's his man. And he's literally stood there adjusting his headband. And it's like, that's not a guy who's busting a gut for his teammates and for the club. And I understand it. He's lone. He's got going home in one part of his mind. I don't know what his family situation is, if he's away from his family, stuff like that, if he's traveling back and forth. I don't know. But for me, he's been too inconsistent. He doesn't work hard enough regularly. And I had a conversation with someone yesterday who said, is he just someone, like sometimes you get these skillful players and they get accused of being lazy and maybe just being aggressive is not in their game. I don't need him to be aggressive, but I need him to work hard. I wish we'd play him on the left, or at the very least, him and Grant would swap wings throughout the game, because I think if Bowler played off the left, I think we'd see a different version of him, because he is direct. And I think, if you just said to him, stay high and wide, help your fullback out, be compact, but when you're high and wide, drive at your man, beat him, and put the ball in the box. I think he'd have more assists. I think we'd look more attacking. That type of football would suit him better. And I just wish we would do that. Because on the right, he cuts in all the time. He drifts into the middle. He's always kind of in the positions that Colwell's looking to, or whoever the number 10 is looking to take up. And it becomes a bit congested and they're not able to link up effectively. You look at Kean Ashford on Tuesday, straight as soon as he came on, he hugging the touchline, which meant Colwell constantly was able to get on the ball, receive it, play it to Ashford, then run in behind. So Ashford had the choice, play it back to him behind the fullback, cut inside into the space. Like, there was good link-up play immediately, and that largely was caused by Ashford hugging the touchline. And Ashford did his defensive work, by the way, as well. But also, the other thing which helped that, Turnbull being behind them, playing it in, linking up, movement off the ball. In that second half, the movement off the ball is what allowed Colwell to be effective. You see it in the goal. He gets in behind, and how many times have we just seen him like blasted across the box because everyone's static? But Bowler just makes a couple of yard run to the side, into the space. Colwell finds him with a pass, which he's perfectly capable of doing. Goal. Like, we need movement off the ball. And one of my pet peeves, like I've said a few times, I think Colwell's been let down sometimes by his teammates in the attacking areas. Like, sometimes he'll play balls in and he plays them at pace because he expects them to be capable of taking it and returning it. Now, is he expecting too much of his teammates, or is his teammates just not switched on enough and not focused enough to do it? And so often they're receiving it stood still. Why is there no movement? Why are they not on the move? These are the first things you're taught as a footballer, as a kid. Like, be on the move. Don't stand still. Be ready. Be on your toes. Move off the ball. Be an option for your teammate. Like, basics. Frustrating. And the comments, my issue with Bowler is he plays as an inside forward. He drifts centrally, offers nothing out wide. He's poor defensively. Never runs at the defenders or runs the channel. He just stops, cuts inside, and passes it. Yep. And then he moans at people like Colwell because they haven't passed it to his feet, and because they don't want to pass the feet. They want to play him in behind the fullback. they want to link up with him. They want the ball back at pace, and he slows it down and cuts inside. And he's a one-trick pony in many ways, but I don't think he is. This is the ironic thing. Is he seems like a one-trick pony, almost like an Anthony who just constantly wants to cut inside and shoot. But actually, I think he's capable of more than just cutting inside, because we've seen a couple of times when he does beat his man and put a cross in with his right foot. Pretty sure we've scored. I think he's got a couple of assists or own goals where he's crossed with his right foot. Just even if he doesn't want to play Bowler on the left, just wish he would perhaps like have Grant and Bowler interchange throughout the game, and Grant and Colwell. So let's do a mix maybe of what I would like to do, but also what I think the manager will do, and see if we can get it right. Back five is back five. Bowler right, Turnbull, Siopis, Grant, Colwell, Mate. And then half-time, I want to see Ashford for either Mate or Bowler. I want to see Joel Colwell come on for the last 20 minutes for Turnbull. And maybe you bring Rawls on for Siopis to help Joel Colwell. And obviously you have the option, you could even play Joel in Ruben's position, so there's a bit less pressure on him defensively. But to be honest with you, everything I've seen and heard of Joel Colwell, he is the perfect number 8. He's aggressive, good on the ball, etc. Give him 20 minutes at the end, and that's what I want to see. I want to see Ashford at halftime, and I want to see Joel Colwell last 15 minutes, because I want to see in the next sort of, let's have a look at these a minute. Bear with me a second just before we finish. So Cardiff have Millwall away tomorrow. Then the following Saturday they have Southampton home, Middlesbrough home, and then Rotherham away. Okay? Tough games, without a doubt. But we're not defending anything. We can relax and play football. So I would like to see, and the other thing with young players, Ashford, like I've said, play him on the right. I think he's a striker, but I'm just talking in terms of pressure. And I mean, Joel Colwell is very similar. Like, I'm sure, like I think he plays as like a number 8 now, but his position will change as he goes through his career, and he might end up being a 10. He might end up being a winger. He might end up being a fullback. You never know with young players; their positions do change. It's where the club view him and where they can fit him in. It's a big ask to play in the midfield in a championship game. But if you're old enough, you're good enough. And so often, we're scared to play him, but like we need to have a look at these guys, these two in particular, because they might come in and like they might be like a Kobe Mainu or like a Harvey Elliott, and these guys who, when they've come into first team football, they just take to it like a duck to water. They might struggle, and you might think, right, they need a loan next year, like Isaac has done this year. And it's like, why would you not use the next 4 games to have a look at these guys and really see where we stand with them for next year? Because maybe they're not ready. Maybe they are, but we won't know until we see. There's no pressure, so let's do it. So yeah, I'd like to see Ashford from half-time. I'd like to see Joel Colwell for the last 15 tomorrow. And then you've got 2 home games. Yes, they're big, tough home games. But then I would really, really like to see Ashford start against Southampton, and maybe Joel Colwell come off the bench. Last home game of the season, I want to see both of them start. Last home game of the season, I want to see, depending on injuries and stuff, I would like to see a midfield of Siopis, Joel Colwell, and then on Ruben Colwell in front of him. And then on the left, I'd like to see Ollie Tanner. On the right, I'd like to see Carl Grant. Through the middle, Ashford. Like, I'd like to see like a really young attacking lineup with wingers in traditional, like Ollie Tanner on the left, Carl Grant on the right, Colwell behind Ashford, Joel Colwell and Cyprus. It won't happen, but that's what I would like to see for those home games, because we are safe. So let's have a good look at them. Just lastly, Reece says, It does depend how the club see Joel as a player. Do they want him to be box to box, ball winning midfielder? If it's the second or a ball winning midfielder, if it's the second one, you'd want him playing alongside Siopis, who's better to tutor. Yeah, I mean, the reason I said about maybe bringing Rawls on for that 15-minute period where Joel Colwell comes in is I'm not 100% sure what Siopis' English is like and stuff like that. Whereas Joel Colwell's the club captain, he's been through it, he's come through as a young player. All the academy players are familiar with him; they know him. So if Joel is a bit nervous, you can have him. But then you've got his brother on the pitch as well, so maybe you don't need to do that. But ultimately, I want to see Turnbull in midfield on Saturday from the start. Colwell in the 10. If you're not going to play Bowler on the left, please let us wing, just like switch to wingers. But for me, the man to watch for Cardiff City is Turnbull. Let's see what position he plays. Let's see if he starts. I would really, really like to see him start alongside Siopis in midfield. Fingers crossed. Big game in many ways. Like Millwall need a win. Cardiff City, I would just like to see us play with pace, play with width, be aggressive. Let's go and get 3 points and give the travelling fans something to cheer about and get excited about. It's been a long season. Hasn't always been smooth sailing. But we are capable of playing when we want to. So let's step it up and let's give the fans a treat for these next 4 games. Because I think that Bulut and the players that we have now are capable of putting on a show for these next 4 games from a passion, aggression, a technical, and a quality sense. I think we have the players. I also think we have the defence to be compact and solid. As long as we play that back 5 and we've got Siopis in front, if you get the combinations around them correct and we play with a bit of width and urgency, I believe that we are capable of playing attacking football, and I believe that we could have a really good finish to the season. Research, any announcements on the live podcast event, mate? Just sure you said by the end of the week. No, I should find out Tuesday for definite, and then touch wood that everything is in order and good. It should be announced and hit the ground running real quick. It's going to be a good one. If you're not a member of Ace Podcast Nation, I highly advise you to go to patreon.com/Ace Podcast Nation. Sign up. It's like £3 or whatever a month. You get 24 hours early access to those tickets, because I do think this next one, obviously the Willie Boland one now has only got a few tickets left on the 10th of May. If you'd like to join us at the Rose and Crown in Pontypridd, the next one is in Cardiff, on the outskirts of Cardiff. It's with a player which I've never done anything with before. He's a big name. It's going to be exceptional. I cannot wait to announce it and to get it going. But that 24-hour early access could be vital to getting tickets. So there we go. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Have a great weekend. Make sure you check out the Flower Hour match reaction show tomorrow night after the game. Normally about between 7 and 9, depending on what the boys have got on and stuff like that. But it'll definitely be on the Flower Hour. And then Sunday night, I'll be back with 5 things we learned from Millwall and Cardiff City. I posted a historical clip earlier of Paul Miller chipping Roger Freestone from about 40 yards. I'm hoping to post some more historical clips on the channel, shorts and stuff. We have the history of Cardiff City next week. We have the Cardiff City phone-in and a whole host of other things. Cardiff City content, 7 days a week, by the fans, for the fans. If you want to get involved, hit us up. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Nice one.